title. Let me try it again.
So we are live, and it's more than time management is what we are
Yes.
talking about today. I have two beautiful ladies here with me. So thank you all for joining us live. This evening, we are going to be talking about how it's more than time management. And I know that that's a really broad statement, but I think when I think about, not just you all, but the people that I work with, the spaces that I work in across industries and HR, and Quiana, I know you'll know this too. And Dr. Monique, you work with just about everybody. But so many people are being told, just manage your time better when you feel overwhelmed, or when you feel like you're on the brink of burnout, or you're just tired. Everybody seems to think that telling us just manage your time better is what's going to fix it. And so I feel like this is a myth buster session, because it is so much more than time management. Before I go any further, let me introduce myself and then allow you two beautiful ladies to introduce yourselves as well. If this is your first time seeing me or hearing my voice, I am Nicole Roan, everybody's favorite capacity coach. And I am joined by two lovely ladies who also happen to be speakers at the upcoming capacity conference that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I am so grateful for both of your participation, because you both bring unique perspectives. Dr. Monique, I'm going to have you introduce yourself first and tell us, who you are, where you're at, kind of what you do. And then when you're done, I'll pass it over to Quiana and we'll get this party started.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be on here with both of you lovely ladies. I'm Dr. Monique Flemings from the Chicago area, and I partner with high achieving women leaders, and particularly when they want to build their teams and prioritize rest. I take my time in saying that because it's important. So you can have leadership and rest. I'm that person that's going to help you understand how you can build that team out and maximize your rest, and do not sacrifice yourself.
Yes, ma'am, to all of that. All of that. All of us leaders and entrepreneurs need that. So thank you for what you do. I'm a hush now. Quiana, come on in and tell us what you do and who you are.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks for having me. My name is Quiana Jones. I am the owner of Room Key Event Venue. We are located in Maryville, Indiana, so in the Northwest Indiana area, but also servicing the Chicagoland area, surrounding suburbs or city area that may be nearby. I'm also an HR professional, so I've been an HR director now for 3 years, 3 or 4 years. But I've been in HR for 12 years now, so just have an extensive background in the human resources profession.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And can I just say, it's been such an honor to watch your journey as well, because, what most people probably don't know is that Quiana and I actually worked together at BMO Harris. And I take so much pride, and I don't know if you remember this, but I take so much pride in telling everybody that can hear me that you trained me. Do you remember that? When I came in, right? When I came in as a temp.
And you know what? I didn't even recognize like the magnitude of that and like what our relationship would flourish into. So it is just so important to have genuine, authentic connections. And I felt that from you. And like we've been locked in ever since. Like
Yes.
ever since.
We have. And the same thing. The vibe was the same. I felt that genuine spirit from you. And even when you moved on to bigger and better things, we were still having lunch, still communicating. You got your baby Tori. I get to see. I know she's not a baby anymore.
She's still my baby.
But always gonna be your baby, right? My 21-year-old is still my baby. So listen. But I wanted to have you on here because I know that you get it. As an HR professional, I'm sure you get people coming in talking about how there are not enough hours in the day, right? They have competing priorities, whether they're managing teams or individual contributors or they're leaders. And then I'm sure you've heard some of the personal stories too, like, hey, I have this going on at home, because I always say that our HR space really is like the therapist office
Yeah.
without the therapy credentials. And so if you could talk to us a little bit about, how and why does creating work-life balance and managing competing priorities take more than just time management? And then
Mhm.
Monique, I'll pass it over to you after
Thank you.
Quiana tells us.
Yes. So the first thing I will say, which is really big for me and very timely, I've been having conversations with my leadership team about, what our vision is and what we believe is important to be true about our work, right? And so one thing that just kept coming back to me is that we are people first. So before the job, before the titles, before being a parent or whatever it is that you are, that you may label yourself as, you are a person first. And so I think we forget that, especially at work, because we've been, kind of conditioned or trained to always want to be our best selves. We have to, or we try to be perfect. I think a lot of us have that spirit of perfection upon us, and so we want to show up well, which means that we are oftentimes sacrificing, our own selves. And I think that that is one of the struggles that many people have. So you got to recognize that at the end of the day, you are a person first, and so you cannot pour into your job, other people, without pouring into yourself first. You have to first be well and be okay. And you also need to instill that in other people around you, right? Like your teams, they are people, right? We are not robots. We are not machines. We have our stuff that we deal with at home, outside of work, at work, And so if we just remember that, I think, I think that's a good starting point, because it'll help you to remember that you have to take time for yourself. You have to make sure that you are, eating well, sleeping, self care, right? Like some of those things that you need to ensure that your well being in general is just okay. And then you can, you know, manage the workload and the things that you have on your plate, because that stuff will be there, right? But if you are not okay, you will not be able to perform as you need to perform. I hope that was helpful and answered your question, but let me know if you have any clarifying questions for me.
Ma'am, all of that. Yes, absolutely. Like, and we have a comment that says exactly what I said. Absolutely. I love that you said we're people first. And one of the things that I think we have in common is that I pride myself on putting the human back in HR, because it's so easy for us to think about, yes, the vision, the goals, the bottom line, all of the different components that have to come together for businesses to run. But if you don't operate from a people first perspective, that's where you get burnout. That's where you get turnover, and that impacts the bottom line. And so, yes, ma'am, you completely answered the question. So thank you so much for that. I love it. Now, Dr. Monique, come on and tell us your perspective on how and why does creating work-life balance and really managing those competing priorities, why does it take more than just time management?
Oh, this is such a good conversation. So, in my background as a physical therapist who works in academia, so I coach, mentor, and teach and train doctoral students, doctoral physical therapy students, and also, I'm part of my own team as well. And so the first thing is we got to make sure we look at the names of things, the names of things. And so work life balance is something that I stopped teaching a while back because I recognized and realized there's no way to balance. And in particular, it kept women on this hamster wheel. And I just began to lean into more of work life harmony, which means you have to learn how to blend and not balance. Learning how to blend and not balance. Balance means that something is always going to be a deficit at the risk of something else. And for us as women that are busy and we juggle many leadership roles, it causes us an internal struggle. We may not look like it on the outside, but internally, our stomachs are turned up, we're nervous, we can't sleep. We have all types of things happening internally. So I've taught women how to blend and look at work life harmony, which means I have to give the focus to what is the priority at that time, and everything else blends behind it. And it's okay. So that means today, maybe the focus is on my child. And guess what? The housework does not get done today. Okay, because we're trying to do all things and be everything to everybody. And so that's the first thing. And then when it comes to time management, I teach time allocation, which is a different perception as well. If you understand the hours that you have been allocated, then you can invest them in the way that you need to, as opposed to manage them. I can never manage my time, but I can allocate the time where it needs to be. And so when you teach people how to allocate the time to their priorities and to their goals, that's really what minimizes burnout and overwhelm. Because often women, we are doing all the things for everybody, and we are putting our time in places and spaces that have nothing to do with us.
Listen, I couldn't get off mute fast enough. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
you just talking reminds me of why we connected and why, we're in the same ecosystem, because I believe those same things, right? I think whether you call it work-life balance or whether you call it work-life harmony or work-life integration, what I want people to understand is that it's never going to be equal. It's never going to be equal. So if you have this mindset that I have to give my family the same amount of time that I give my job, or I have to give, myself the same amount of time that I give to my friends, it's never going to be equal. And that goes right into time allocation. I love that, because one of the things that I talk about, with capacity management and leadership building and, us having businesses as entrepreneurs, is being able to recognize how much time, energy, and resources you really have available. Because most of the time we're overestimating that, right? When listen,
Yes.
I know you're
Yes.
not.
Yes.
And that's what leads to burnout. That's what leads to illness. That's what leads to anxiety, right? The overpromising and under delivering. And so I love, love, love what you said. And I'm even more excited that we are in this space together tonight to talk about it, because we see it from different perspectives of, wearing that superhero cape. And like Quiana said, wanting to really show up and do all the things, be the best version of yourself at work, be the best mom, the best partner, the best business owner. Something's got to give, right? So that leads me to my next question. And Quiana, I'll start with you again. And I want to know, you mentioned this a little bit. Tell us why you believe that prioritizing self-care is important for leaders and entrepreneurs.
Yes. I started talking about it, but like really and truly, I believe in that you cannot show up for things and for yourself and for other people if you have an empty cup, right? It is impossible. And I am a living witness that when you try to be in all these places and spaces, eventually it's going to catch up to you and you're going to be told to sit down. And it's going to be something that is more reactive than it is proactive, right? Like you don't want to be told to sit down and forced to sit down because you're sick or because just some type of ailment has occurred upon you. So I think it's really important to be proactive about these things, and and it's beyond just. It could be things like I get massages, I take myself out to eat, I will sit outside, I will go for walks, things like that are important, but I think it's even those little things that I often forget, like taking a moment when I have a long day, a busy day. I may forget to pause for 5 minutes, right? I may forget to just sit and not think, have a brain break because I'm on constant go mode. And so you have to like incorporate things that are not just the cliche things that you may think about when it comes to self-care, but like when your body is telling you something in that moment, listen to it. If you need to sit down, if you need to rest, listen to your body, because it is the first indicator, right, that will speak to you. And then you have to be proactive about it. You have to ensure that you are taking in positive things, whatever that may be for you, reading, therapy, uh, connections with other people that will help you to be well overall proactively before you have to react and respond to something and now you're trying to fix it. So I think that that's important because as leaders, you're in different places, you're involved in so many different things, and you have people looking up to you that are expecting certain things from you, certain standards. And so you just want to ensure that you don't forget to take care of yourself the same way that you are taking care of other people. And it can get so hard. Again, I'm a living witness to all of these things. It is so difficult, and I'm learning, but just as us all. So it's like I'm not an expert in this. I'm still figuring it out. But I do know that when you feel good, you show up so much better. And so again, you just want to be proactive about figuring this thing out. What works for you, because what works for you may not work for everybody else. So you got to find those things that work for you so that then you can show up and be well in other spaces.
I'm over here saying amen, amen, amen. Let the church say amen, because just all of that, you said so much. Thank you for your perspective. You know this, and those who are watching, listening, or catching the replay may not know that just like you're a living witness, I'm a living witness, right? I was trying to do all the things and I thought I was doing it flawlessly. And at first I was. But when you want to be able to show up sustainably, at work, in your business, in your family, for yourself, you have to be able to practice self-care. And my body sat me down, took me out, right? To where I was fighting for my life in ICU because I wasn't managing the stress. I was not, dealing with the anxiety and mental anguish that came from a struggling marriage and being able to, deal with a daughter who at the time had chronic migraines, right? Like, and then working in toxic work environments or commuting a long way, being the go-to person, like your body will sat you down. Like I literally just posted something earlier this week. I think it was Sunday. I posted an impromptu video saying, listen to your body, because all of the stuff that I've been doing in preparation for this event at work, in my business, with my family, I was tired with a capital T at the end. I slept 12 hours on Sunday. My body needed that. And so the sooner that we learn how to listen to our bodies, the better off we'll be. We got to stop dismissing that. So thank you for saying all of that. I'm going to pause and pass it over to Dr. Monique, because I know you have some good stuff to say about this too.
Yeah, this is my sweet spot here, my little lane of genius, I think. But the whole self-care thing has to get to the point where it's not an event. See, right now, self-care is a massage, self-care is a pedicure, it's a spa day, but you come home from your spa day and you still have a headache. You come back from your massage and you're still exhausted. Okay. So that's why self first is what I teach. Self first, which is different than self care. See, self care is an event. And if I get overwhelmed or my schedule gets busy, I'll just move that self-care appointment off. We will. We do it all the time. How many times have you had that massage and you're like, oh, okay, let me just take this client or do this or take the kid somewhere, and you push that massage off for another 2 weeks, which is not good because you already needed that. But if we get to the point where every day we're practicing self first, like my other sister said, is just being able to take a moment to breathe, to pump the brakes, to do a digital detox where you pull away from all the stimulation that the devices and the computers does, with our brain and with our eyes. Just being able to sit in the moment, and movement. You don't have to exercise, but movement in and of itself, just get up and dance, get up and move. All those things, if you're doing something every day, which I call your daily rest regimen, then you will combat, any type of overwhelm, because your body is now being trained. Just like you get up every day, you brush your teeth. I hope you do. And you get up every day, you do your hygiene, you do every day. You should have a rest regimen, if not one, two. One in the morning, one in the evening. What is your morning rest regimen? What is your evening rest regimen? Putting those in place, especially for high achieving women, because we're always pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, like you said, doing multiple things. And that's why all of us do, just like you, Nicole, on the weekend, we crash. Our bodies, are saying too much. But we got to get to the point where we're not crashing every day. I tell people a vacation is not a time for you to rest. It's supposed to be time for you to create memories. But why do we think a vacation is, oh, I can't wait to go on a vacation so I can rest? Out of order. Out of order, my friend. Out of order. You can't even create memories with your family because you're exhausted.
And then you need the vacation from the vacation
Come on.
because you're still tired.
You
Because
are.
you're planning for the vacation so that you don't have to come back to a whole mess. And then you get to the vacation and it takes you halfway through the vacation to sit back. And by the time it's done, you're like, I'm back at work. Oh my
Mhm,
gosh.
mhm.
I'm again, amen, amen. Let's church say amen because and I posted it up here. I love that you said that you need a daily rest regimen, right? It's self first and it's not an event. And I believe too many of us do think, and I was part of that until, my situation sat me down. Literally a week before I was in the hospital, I said the same thing. I'm going to go on vacation and I'm going to feel better, right? I was in Florida walking on the beach and my mind couldn't rest because I thought that taking me out of my environment was going to help. And it did partially, right?
Right.
But as soon as I landed back in Chicago in the middle of winter, mind you, I'm like, it's cloudy, it's gray, my chest got tight. It did not resolve what was going on. And even in the middle of that, before I went to the hospital, because mind y'all, this is why it's important to listen to your body. I have been walking around feeling all of this stuff for probably about a week or two, until it got to the point where I couldn't get up off of the couch. And my daughter had to drive me to the hospital. But even in that, I was like, my body hurts. I'm going to just go get a massage. I'm going to take a warm bath, throw a little bit of extra Epsom salt and some oil in there. When none of that worked,
Right.
my daughter literally said, Mom, I know you are the parent and I am the child, but you are sitting here in tears and you cannot get up off the couch. I'm taking you to the hospital. Child had to get me dressed, right? And took me. But that's how bad we let it get. We think that going on a vacation or, going to get a massage. I always like to say that self-care is an inside job, right? You can take a bubble bath. Yes, you can, go get your nails done. But to me, it's doing that inside work and connecting with what is it that feels off? What do I need? What do I value? How do I take care of myself every single day? So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is such a good conversation. Goodness gracious. So two other quick questions for you all. And Dr. Monique, I'll start with you. Tell us one way. I was going to say that you create work-life balance, but we'll say work-life harmony or work-life integration. Tell me one of the ways that you do create that for you and how you manage your competing priorities.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. So first of all, what I teach and what I tell myself every day, everything is not a priority. That's the first thing. And other people's priorities never supersede my priorities. Second thing. So that means you can't call me with the 911 and then I have to drop everything unless I choose to engage. Now, if somebody calls me, they're sick, family member, things of that nature, we have no control over that. Yes. But many times I know for myself, I was taking on a lot of 911s of other people. And it really didn't require all that because it really wasn't a 911, but people knew they could infringe upon my schedule. So now that I understand that I am the priority, which means I get up, I do certain things in the morning. I like to have a nice cup of tea in the morning, have my quiet time, my prayer time, my time just to kind of, get my thoughts together. And then I start my day. And then I have another break where I get up and do some movement. I get up and I jam to some Whitney Houston or some Beyonce and I get it on. Nobody's watching, nobody's here. Then I come back because I work, from home. So you have to create those things that work best for you, so that you can have the mental capacity to be your best. If you know you have a long day, and sometimes I have a long day with meetings back to back, then that means I got to get up a little extra this morning and do something for myself. See, self first is never selfish. It's never selfish. And as women, we have been so conditioned to take care of everybody else and prioritize everybody else that we feel like it's selfish. We feel guilty. No, ma'am, I don't feel guilty. I feel guilty when I don't feel guilty. I that's how I prioritize. So I try to teach my clients the same thing, and it's difficult. It's really difficult. It's a mindset shift. But once you recognize and realize that you are not everybody's garbage can, you're not everybody's place where they can dump everything. When you understand the power of saying no, and you recognize, hey, listen to your body, like you said, it's a good feeling, and it's very empowering.
Hmm. And no is a complete sentence, right?
It's a complete sentence. And say it with a smile.
Yes. No. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I
I can't.
can't.
Y'all are teaching me something today.
With a smile. With a smile. I had one of
Yes,
my good
indeed.
friends say, "How you gonna tell me no and smile at the same time?" Like I just did. No. Thank you though. So yes, use that, ma'am. Use it. Dr. Monique, everything that you said, being able to really do what works for you, that's important.
That's the key.
Moving, yeah, and then moving your body, right? Like similar to what you said, even if it's just a 10-minute walk for me, because whether you are in the office or you're working from home, we sit here in front of our computers so much. And
Yes.
I remember hearing a couple years ago how sitting is like the new cancer.
Oh, yes.
And
I can
that's
believe that.
yeah, because
I
we
can believe
sit so
that.
much. And I know some people who are watching or listening, and you all might identify this. You get so busy working that, you might hold it before going to the bathroom. Let me just finish this email. You messing your bladder up, man. Don't do that. Right? So getting up and infusing movement into our day. One of the things that I learned too was even just sitting here and rolling my shoulders,
Mhm.
because I don't know about y'all, but I get all tense in here, which is why I have that monthly massage. But even in the middle of the day, when I find myself getting tense, pausing
Yes.
long enough to roll my shoulders, roll my neck and moving, that is such a form of self-care that is free, that you can do every single day. And it's being mindful and again, listening
Mhm.
to your body. So let me ask you now, Quiana, what is one of the ways that you create work-life balance, work-life harmony, work-life integration, um, and really are able to manage your competing priorities? Because I know you got Room Key now, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, you're an HR director and a mom, and I know Tori's in everything. So come on and tell us.
Yeah, so it's a lot. And like I said, I'm still learning. And I will say the things that have worked for me in the past, and I've told myself like I got to get my life together right now. So I know what I'm about to start prioritizing. So I'm gonna talk about the stuff that I know believe to work well, and then I ain't done some of this stuff yet, but I'm gonna get there. And so, I enjoy meditating, right? Starting your day to what you said, starting your day off in a space where you are just giving yourself a moment, meditate, just relax, right? And then I use my calendar a lot because I have so many things that I have going on. But one of the biggest things that I recognize that I've been doing is I'm overbooking myself, right? So it looks like I got the morning clear, and so I will add something else to it. But by the time I look up, I got something in the morning, something in the afternoon, something at night that I'm running to. And so it's back to back to back for me. So I told myself that I'm going to manage my calendar differently now. Where if I got to decide if it's going to be one thing a day or one a week, right? If I'm going to have to start saying no to people, that's what I'm have to do because I feel so obligated to show up and support and be in all these places. But then now I'm burnt out for the week because I didn't have time for myself. So I know I have to manage my calendar a little bit differently, but it does help that I have a calendar so I can see what's going on and I can, pick and choose what it is that I'm going to insert myself into. But one thing that I think that is really important for me as a mom, because I do work from home and my child doesn't understand the difference between work and, you know, play and all of that. And I feel so bad too, because I feel like sometimes I want to
Listen,
be present.
the adults don't get that either. It's not, I promise you.
Yeah.
Nobody. Go ahead.
But when I get done from work, she's like ready to go, right? She's ready to play, talk, and do all these things. And I'm like, I just need a moment to just relax and just think and just like do nothing. And so I'm teaching her to respect that boundary and hopefully incorporate boundaries for herself similarly, right? That, I can't just move from this one thing to the next. So I need a moment. Mommy just needs some time. Give me a few minutes and then we can jump in and we can play. So I'm also teaching myself not to keep going from one thing to the next, to give myself time to, slow roll it, right? Because I feel like I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna do this next thing. Once I get done with it, then I'll sit down. But then here comes the next thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that too, and then I'm gonna sit down. And then it's like by the time I look up, I haven't sat down yet. So I have to insert that, so that it's not, again, be proactive about it, so that like I'm not reacting to something that's not good. But those are just a few things that I've started to incorporate. And whatever is my time, right? Like how I feel in this moment and what I need for me, like I'm gonna respect that and I'm gonna prioritize me more than what I do for other people. And that's okay. Because for a long time I thought I was being selfish by putting me first. And so that's gonna take a lot of unlearning to do. But I'm working on it. So I appreciate hearing from you, Dr. Monique, because I think that was really powerful what you said.
Yeah, no, you hit on some things there, quite a few things. It is deeper than just the schedule because we got to really talk about why do I keep saying yes when I know that I'm not prioritizing myself, or why do I keep overbooking myself? Been there, girl. Yeah. And so it was like I was just trying to be everything for everybody. So what is that really saying about me? That's some type of internal alignment that's out of order, you know trying to be and do everything. And then I promise you, it gets you to a place where you're not getting anything out of it.
Yep.
Very, very true.
Listen, nodding, agreeing, amening, because yes to all of that. And, Quiana, I want to tell you how proud of you I am. And, to let you know that we're all works in progress, right? Slow motion is better than no motion. And I believe that what you're teaching your daughter, other moms need to hear that, because I too am teaching my son that. And it's hard sometimes. For me, it's either first thing in the morning before, like right now, he's in summer camp, and then he's going to be going back to school in the next, I cannot believe it, like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Or it's when, I finish working and then I go and I pick him up. He talks a mile a minute. I love him. I do. But first thing in the morning, when I'm trying to meditate and say my affirmations, I do like this. I'd be like, time out. Liam, mommy just needs 5 minutes. This is my quiet time. You have affirmations too. You should say your affirmations. No, we can't say them together. I love you. I do. Mommy needs these 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, yes, we can say them together. But it's too much. My brain is on overload. Let my feet get out the bed. Like let me brush my teeth first before you start asking me questions. And so I'm teaching him that, as well as, when I pick him up, of course, as we're walking back to the car, I'm like, how was your day? What's going on? And then he wants to jump into everything. I'm like, hey, take a minute, pause, make sure your seatbelt's on. Let me get the car rolling, and then let's talk. And it's honoring what you need in that moment. And sometimes that can be hard, because thinking about what you said, Dr. Monique, I have been the one who felt like I needed to be there for everybody. I felt obligated to show up. And that is something deeper. And sometimes that comes from, imposter syndrome. It comes from people pleasing. And we know that we grow up as adult women, and being all of those things are glorified. And we do have to unlearn those things. And I think it's a process. It's not a one and done. So this conversation that we're having is something that I know many women are either dealing with by themselves, or they're having with girlfriends when they finally do make time to go meet up with them. We're all trying to get through this together. And so I think that that's a really great segue to talk, because I know I said we would be on here for 30 minutes. We already at almost 35, and I want to be mindful of our time. I think it's a good segue to talk about the Capacity Conference, which you both are part of. I'm so excited and grateful for your yes. that is happening this week. And we're getting together in the room to give. Originally, it was just women in and around the Chicagoland area, but now we have virtual tickets. So I'm excited about that. Yes, got all the requests for that. But essentially, we're getting together so that we can create sustainable success based on, all the different hats that we wear, managing those competing priorities. And these are all the things that we're talking about: self-care for leaders and entrepreneurs, rest. We have 8 different speakers, including you two. Well, 9, including me too. Let me go on and put myself in there. Different panel discussions around how our health is our wealth, all these amazing workshops on literally unlearning and undoing unhealthy habits and attachments, identity, how we can get caught in the different titles that we have as mom, wife, caregiver, all of those things. And so from you all's perspectives, I would love, and I'm going to start with you, Dr. Monique, for you to tell women why they need to either get in the room physically. Mind you, let me say this real quick. We only have 3 tickets left for in-person. 3 tickets left for in-person. So if you are not,
Yes.
if you're planning on coming, and there's going to be an announcement that comes out after this, but we have the literal capacity for 3 more people in the room.
Ooh.
So if you're planning to come, get your ticket. But we do have virtual as well. But tell women why they need to be in the room and why you said yes to the capacity conference.
Oh my goodness. It was an easy yes for me because these are crucial conversations for women that we're not having enough of. And I love the format. When you reached out, I was like, yes, where do I join in? Because these are the type of conversations that we need, and we're not having enough of it. So ladies, if you're sitting there and you're on the bubble, you're on the fence, you're thinking about all the other things you could be doing, try your best to grab one of those in-person tickets so you can get in the room and get answers, clarity, solutions, and strategies. You don't have to sit on the couch and try to figure it out yourself unless you just can't get there, but get in the room. There's something about getting in a space, getting in the room, being with other like-minded women, because first of all, you need to understand that you are not alone, because sometimes we think we're the only one. No one understands us. No one is going through what you're going through. Honey, you're not the only one. So get in the room. But if you can't get in the room, then I would create a space in your home and get a virtual ticket and put a note on the door and let people know I am not going to be disturbed. I am in a virtual meeting because I'm trying to get my life together. This is going to be so good. We should have called it the Get Your Life Together Conference, because that's what we should call it. It's like, girl,
Maybe
get your life together.
to that for next year, because this really is getting your life together. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It really is. So that's what, no. So that's what I would say. If you cannot physically get there for whatever reason, I would say get that virtual ticket, put a note on the door, invest in yourself. And you hear that all the time, but really invest the time. Allocate the time for yourself to get the tools that you need so you can be strengthened. So get in there, either in person or virtually.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Monique. And I cannot wait to see you. It's 2 days away.
I'm so excited. I'm super excited. This is going to be so much fun.
Oh my goodness. I'm so full of joy. Oh, okay. Quiana, tell us, why you said yes to the capacity conference and why women need to be there.
Yes. So, firstly, I love, love, love everything about this. And I believe that I'm learning what God has placed me on this earth to do. And so this feels like this is my purpose, to just pour into people, to just create genuine, authentic spaces for people, right? And so that is why I say yes, because this is for me. It's for me to also learn from you all, learn from everybody else that is in the room. So it's an opportunity for me to be a little selfish because I'm going to gain from this as well, right? And so I think that's the value in this, right? You can come, you can be a part of a group that where it's almost like a breath of fresh air because there are people who understand you, they relate to you, and so it's just like really nice and validating, I guess I would say, to be in a space where you can be vulnerable, you can open up, and it's a safe space. And then you can learn from people. We learning from each other. We are learning some tangible things that you can incorporate into your daily lives that you can actually apply. If you feel you're stuck, you just don't know what to do, or you don't even know what you don't know. I think that's the biggest part too, that you don't even know how much power is in that room full of these women. And so it is going to be really amazing to sit there and just learn things that you had no idea you needed to know. And I do believe that, people are put in the right places at the right times. Like, there's no coincidence. So whoever is meant to be in that room will be there, and they're going to be specific messages for each and every person to take away. And then lastly, like I said, we can learn from each other. There are networking opportunities. You can get to know people, get to meet people, and then get to share your own stories and your own insight. So it's not just learning from the speakers, but I think that every woman in that room brings some value to the conference, and they can share their stories and insight as well. So we're all gonna gain, and we all about to win. So I'm just really excited about it. I can't wait. I can't believe it's already here, but I appreciate being able to be a part of this. And one thing for me, I think because I'm so young, or like I just feel like a regular person, to be offered an opportunity like this is big. And it makes me just gain more confidence in myself, and it makes me realize that I matter and that I am important and that I'm special enough to do something to move people in this way. And so it is just like very mind blowing that when you look at people, I'm like, I can't be this inspirational lady the way that she, but like I'm doing this right. And so I just I don't this is something big for me. And so I thank you, Nicole, for just even asking me to be a part of something as powerful as this is. I really appreciate it.
I'm trying not to cry. These last little lashes I got on because my lash lady out of town, so cut it out. No, I thank you for that. And I know that there's so much that's going through my mind and my heart right now. So I'm gonna try to sum it up quick. I knew you were powerful when I met you, right? That genuine connection, the fact that we've stayed connected and we've shared with each other about what we wanted to do outside of HR, right? And the first event that you did, you had me come speak. And that changed my life. And I saw the impact that it had on, the women that were in the room at that retreat. And it gave me the courage to combat that imposter syndrome that I was having that said, you can't have a conference. Who are you? You work HR. That was 2 years ago. Remember? Like 2 years ago, we did that. And I couldn't think of anyone better than you to come be part of this because your story matters. I learned about you. I learned about all those women. And what I learned too is what we've all said, that we are not alone in this. So many of us are what I call secretly struggling or suffering in silence with wanting to be the best you can be, like you in the army, but when you go to bed, you can't sleep because you have racing thoughts, or just so much. So I'm ecstatic that we are all going to get together and learn from each other, that we're going to be able to pour into all of the attendees and each other. And we're about to have a good time doing it, a really good time doing it. So thank you both for your yeses. I want to ask my quick couple of questions that I didn't tell y'all what they were, because of course this is going to be repurposed as a podcast, right? And so what I typically ask my guests are these three things. It's not hard. Y'all ready? Yes or yes? Okay, yes. So Dr. Monique, I'll go to you first. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with the 17-year-old version of yourself and give her one piece of advice only, what would it be and why?
I would tell that 17-year-old girl, believe in yourself because you got the goods. Why would I tell her that? Because I struggled tremendously with my confidence, with self-esteem, um, all that, rejection, all the things, and it made the journey long. It made it tedious. I learned a lot, But I always said, man, if I knew that I was a bad mama jamma at 17, I would have been able to do some things, but my confidence was not there. My esteem was not there. All that other stuff, I had to relearn some things. But that's what I would tell myself. You got the goods right now. Everything that you need is already on the inside of you.
Mm, yes. Yes and yes, because and
Did
I
I
think
answer your question?
yes, absolutely. I feel like 17, I know I asked that because 17 was such a critical age for me, right? And thinking back, it was like the crux of where I was going into adulthood.
Yeah.
And I too struggled with the confidence and the self-esteem and all of those things. And so it's interesting to me to hear what us women would tell our 17-year-old selves. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're
Quiana,
welcome.
what you got for 17-year-old kids?
Honestly, it's literally along the same lines that like you have it, right? Like you can do this. I think to this day I still not as much, but still kind of don't feel like I have the confidence that I need. And I am just as great or even greater than some of the next people, right? So you got it. Just get out of your head about stuff, um, and attack it head on. Like it's
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. And sometimes we still need to tell the 17-year-old version of ourselves that as adults, right? Like, girl, you got this. You are doing this. You got what it takes. So I love it. Okay. The next question, we've already kind of answered it. So I don't think I'm gonna ask you that one because it was really around like what are one of the things. Well, I'll ask it. What is one thing that you do to manage your capacity on a regular basis, Dr. Monique?
I was trying to think of a different thing. I'll say this because I share what I do on a daily basis. One thing I do to manage my capacity on a daily basis is I am always looking at what's on my plate. And I always make sure I take something off my plate. So if I take on a new assignment, a new role, or new anything, I'm always looking for, okay, I'm putting something on my plate, so something has to come off my plate. So I'm always kind of shuffling priorities, and that causes me to keep making sure that I am prioritizing things around myself first
Mm-hmm.
and not just taking on more obligations so that I'm not overextending myself. So I would say that's something that I do quite often. And people know they work with me. I'll go, wait a minute, let me see. I got to figure out what I'm going to take off my plate if
Yep.
I can actually do this before I say yes. Let me look and see what these priorities are that I have for the next couple of weeks. If I can take something off my plate, then I can say yes. If I can't, then you got to come back.
Yes, come on, priority management. And you said something earlier that everything isn't a priority. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I say it a little differently. I say that you got to, look at what's essential versus what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's important is not essential. So prioritize those priorities. I love it. All right, Quiana, what's one thing you do on a regular basis to manage your capacity?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will say that I am getting my rest. Because you need it, right? I need to sleep. I need to take moments to pause, and just like sit there and just have a moment of peace. So that's one. I think I talked about a few different things, but that's one area that I did not mention where like I am going to make sure that I get my rest because how can I, function if I'm tired, exhausted?
Yes, I love it. Come on, rest. And Dr. Monique, I know you love that too. Okay, last question. What's the one thing that you want viewers or listeners to walk away knowing as a result of our conversation today? Dr. Monique.
That you cannot manage your time, but you can allocate it. And always prioritize yourself when you're allocating your time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Come on, time allocation and prioritization. Yes. Okay, Quiana.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I keep feeling like I have a lag, but we are in each other's heads. I will say the same thing that you matter, you are important, and you must prioritize yourself at the end of the day. If nobody will, like, I think if you can think about how you want to treat other people and do for other people, take that same time and energy to do that for yourself as well. Like it is extremely important.
Keep that same energy.
I'm gonna add one more real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: if people are watching and they are having, struggles in this area, they just can't seem to do it. Contact one of us, connect with us, and stop trying to do this work solo.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to say, right? We've created this space so that you don't have to figure it out alone. All of us are here, have, been in your shoes in one way, shape, or form, and are learning how to continue to be a work in progress. You don't have to continue to suffer in silence or secretly struggle. And you can also come to the capacity conference, right? Where you are going to have all of us in the same room for 2 whole days. So thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you pouring into the audience, and I cannot wait to see you all in 2 days, 48 hours. So make sure that you all who are watching, listening, catching the replay, we will have another capacity conversation next week. And this time it'll just be me. I know I've had some guests on here, but you're getting all me next week. Until then, please continue to show up for yourself, to take care of yourself, and to manage your capacity. Have a good night.